Okay, in the previous explanation I showed us how to create a basic form, and here it is. Now, what I'd like to show you here is how to add a bit of detail to the form, and what we're going to add is a label and some buttons. Now the first thing you need to do to change a form is go back to design view. So you can click on design here or here, and that'll toggle you into design view. Now you'll know you're in design view because there's a grid in the background which helps you place things. The first thing I'm going to do is make this form a bit bigger, so I move it over here to give myself a bit more room. I maximise the window a little bit and I make my form that little bit bigger. Now the next step is I'm going to move these controls down a bit. So I lasso the controls by clicking with the left button and dragging it around, and I click and I move these down a bit. Now over on the toolbox here I'm going to use AA, which is a label, to put a label at the top to give my form a bit of a title. So I create that label, stretch it there, and just type in CD shop. And now to change the font and the size I need to click off that with the left button and click back on the text box, and now I can change the font size up here, and in my extended menus here I can change the font to whatever I want really. And that's how I add a label. Now next I'm going to add some buttons that allow me to navigate across the form. So I go over here to command buttons, I click on that button, and then I drag a button on the screen. Now a wizard will start. Now if this wizard doesn't start, that means you haven't got this button here, the control wizard, switched on. So you need to delete that button and go back and put this button on before you start creating your buttons. Now I want this to go to the last record, so I click on go to last record. Then it's good practice to go to next. Choose the icon you want. I'm happy with that, so I'll go to next again. And here give the button a good meaningful name. So CD form last record. If you don't do that, then in the Visual Basic that comes behind the button, it'll just say command 21, command 22 or whatever, and you won't have a clue where you are. And then go to finish, and it creates a button like so. Now next I'm going to create another button, and I'm going to drag that on the screen. And this one I'm going to have it to go to the next record. And again I go to next, happy, next, CD form next record. And now what I'm going to do is add a few more buttons, and I'm going to pause for that, and then I'm going to go back and show you what I've done. And as you can see here now, I've created 4 buttons: go to last, go to next, go to previous, and go to first record. Now you haven't just got to use buttons to navigate. There are a lot more functions of the buttons. If you click on the command button here, and I put a button in the middle that allows me to close the form. So here and go down from record navigation to form operations and go to close form, and again next. I'm happy with that. I go to next again, so CD form, close form, and finish. Now there are a lot of different buttons you can experiment with. I just suggest that you have a go experimenting with them and just get a feel for it like that. But basically, if I now go to change my view, you can see my buttons are here. They all work, and this one should close the form. It'll ask me to save changes, so yes. And there's my form closed. You can open it back up, and the buttons are all still there, and I got a nice little title. And that's it.